Hey, this is the first episode of Vegan Me. I think the best way to get this channel going is to start with an introduction of myself, and I'd like to talk about sort of my experience so far and my intentions with moving forward, both on YouTube and personally. My name is Darren. I am a graduate student in Maine. I've been a vegan now for 5 months. I was a vegetarian before that for 3, so 8 months total. The reason why I kind of wanted to get this channel rolling was because when I started or was looking at and researching becoming vegan, there wasn't a ton out there that was readily available that talked about the actual experience of becoming a vegan. What would have been helpful to me is seeing someone go through it and talk about their experience and how they dealt with different things, because there's a lot, I think, in becoming a vegan that you don't necessarily anticipate. I know that was true for me, and even though I come from an area geographically and culturally that I knew it would be a bit more difficult to handle, I didn't anticipate some of the barriers, I guess, that came up in day-to-day life. It wasn't just these big things, it was the little moments that became harder. Like, what do you do when you're with friends and none of them are vegetarian or vegan or even know what it means, really, and they want to go out and get lunch, and you're not around your kitchen. You don't have any access to your food, and they don't obviously have that sort of stuff because they don't care about that sort of stuff. And it's those things that I think I'd like to talk about, and I don't know if I have any answers. I'm pretty new to this. 5 months is a very short time, especially compared to people that have been doing it for years and years. But maybe that's also an advantage because, I can learn and then I can share it here. Some of the things I've been thinking about as far as what this channel can do, especially over the long term, is to break down different scientific aspects of being vegan. So maybe like a, in-depth look at calcium and how do vegans get it and why it's important. But then I'd also like to have more general discussions to talk about my personal experiences, because I think that's ultimately just as helpful as the nutrition side of things. I think it'd also be cool to do product reviews eventually, just to show some of the things that are out there as far as like substitutes go and things along that line. One of the big reasons that I started this was so that I would also be driven to learn more about being vegan, to learn more about the nutrition behind it, about the hidden ingredients and the animal testing and the side of things that aren't as obvious as not eating meat, not eating dairy or eggs or milk. But the hidden layers that I think are inherently interesting because they're so ingrained in our culture, at least in the United States. But what do you do with all of that? And I think that's a big part of why I wanted to begin talking about it was I don't know what I do with it, and I don't know the answers, and I don't have all the research on the top of my head. And I think starting this and making myself talk about it, no matter how much I pause or stutter or whatever, will make me a better person and will help me to reach my goals. And ultimately, really, I guess my goal is to do this, but to have more information. So this is going to be a learning process for me as much as it is, I hope, for whoever's watching this. You know, maybe someone stumbles on this and it changes how they start to think about things. I think that's why everyone does this, why everyone stares at themselves awkwardly and struggles pronouncing things while they record, is because, you know, we're looking for someone to hear us and to hear our point of view. But the interesting thing with being a vegan is that we almost have a responsibility, I think, you know, depending on why you're doing it, why you've become a vegan, you know, what your reasonings are. And I'll have another video in the works talking about that. But, you know, maybe you don't want to talk about it. Maybe you're better off, you know, not being part of the larger discussion around veganism. For me, that's not an option, you know. That's how I started thinking about it, but now obviously, you know, I've learned enough to get started, to have a launching point, and that's what this is. So thank you for watching the first episode. I'm sorry if it was a bunch of rambling. This is another thing. I'm not only new to the vegan thing, but I'm new to the vlogging side of things. I've never done it before, so if I'm especially awkward, I'm sorry. But thank you for watching.